Hello, my merciful brothers and sisters. It is I, Mr. Mercy, coming at you with my wrap-up for the Microsoft E3 2017 press conference, the Xbox E3 media briefing. So this is going to be a video where I talk about everything that was announced at the conference, go over some of my thoughts on it, and I also recently just did my wrap-up for the EA conference, so if you haven't seen that, make sure you click the iCard on screen right now. I'm not going to point to it because, quite frankly, I don't know which direction it's in. I know I'm going to butcher this. I'm pretty sure it's up there somewhere. I always get confused with which way the iCard is. But anyways, so let's get into what was talked about at the Microsoft E3 press conference. Now, this was actually a longer conference than they're usually used to. So they've usually gone into E3 doing maybe about like an hour, maybe a little over an hour, hour and 15 minutes of, stuff to talk about. But this was a really like a big conference for them. So they actually went for a full hour and 45 minutes with this conference. So this was a really big conference. And they kicked it off with the thing everybody was waiting for, which was the Project Scorpio hardware reveal trailer. I mean, we had seen some dev kits for the Scorpio, but we didn't know what the actual system itself was going to look like. And the reveal trailer itself, you're seeing it on screen now. It was a very epic reveal trailer. I really did like the reveal for the Project Scorpio hardware. It had a very minimalistic approach where like all the visuals and the music did all the talking, and there was no narration. There was no anything to really interrupt the flow of the trailer, which was really cool. And then, of course, we went into the Project Scorpio details. Now, the system was officially named the Xbox One X. Now, initially I thought, oh, that's such a cool name. I really like that name. I actually like it even more than Project Scorpio, which a lot of people really like the name Scorpio and wanted it to stay. But I kind of like Xbox One X as the name of the console. I think that's really cool. My problem, though, and this is what I kind of thought about like shortly after it was revealed, is I'm worried that name is going to confuse some consumers who are maybe a little bit unknowledgeable about the video game industry, don't know what's really going on, and maybe some out of the loop parents who don't know what's happening in the video game industry. Because I mean, you think about it, if you don't know what the difference is, how are you going to be able to tell the difference between an Xbox One S and an Xbox One X? Like they even sound similar too. So so I'm worried it's going to be like a Wii U situation where nobody really knows, what the difference is. When they shipped the Xbox One S, it seemed to have replaced the original Xbox model. I know that they said that it was going to be like standing alongside the Xbox, but the original Xbox One. But from what I've seen, stores haven't had the original Xbox One in stock. It's just been the Xbox One S. So, I mean, that's fine when your only option in the store is the One S. But, when you have two items in the store next to each other, one titled Xbox One S and one titled Xbox One X, especially with such similar sounding names, I think it's going to confuse a lot of parents, and they're going to be like, well, wait a minute, why is this one cheaper and this one more expensive? Like, and I don't think some people are going to be able to get that unless they're gamers and they know what's going on and they know the difference between the One S and the One X. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I like the name. It sounds cool. I just worry that it's going to cause confusion. They need to properly market it. They need to make sure that they have a big push to make sure people understand the difference. And I think when they market the Xbox One X to consumers, they need to show the Xbox One S alongside the Xbox One X. I mean, I think they need to market both products kind of at the same time, because otherwise consumers might still get confused. So then you could have the end of the commercial have, Xbox One S starting at whatever price, Xbox One X starting at this price. So people can see that they are two different consoles at least. They still might be confused about what the difference is, but at least they'll know there is a difference. And I think that's important. And so they need to make sure they market this correctly to avoid something happening like what happened with Nintendo and the Wii U, which nobody really knew it was a new console. Everybody just thought it was an accessory for the Wii. So they need to make sure they market that correctly, but I do indeed like the name. So One X launches on November 7th of this year, and it has a 6 teraflop GPU, which of course we already knew about, and it's clocked at 1.172 gigahertz. It features 12 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM, which sounds like it's a really, really fast RAM, and it also has 326 gigabits per second of memory bandwidth. And One X is also, of course, capable of running at true 4K. This is something that we knew about going into it. We knew that it was going to be heavily reliant on 4K. So it's capable of running at true 4K, so that means that the system features not just a native 4K resolution, it runs natively at 4K, but it also uses 8 million pixels, high dynamic range, a wide color gamut, Dolby Atmos sound for superior sound quality, and is capable of 4K ultra high def Blu-ray playback. So that's what Microsoft means when they say true 4K. It's not just the resolution; it's all of these things that make up the true 4K experience. They also said, of course, something else that we knew, which was all current Xbox One accessories will be compatible with Xbox One X. I believe they said that last year when they unveiled Project Scorpio. And they also say that current Xbox One games will play better on Xbox One X with enhanced visual fidelity, isotropic filtering, and faster load times because of the faster processor and everything. And this was something that was really interesting to me and almost sold me on the Xbox One X anyway, because I don't have a 4K TV yet. They said that the Xbox One X is also designed to have high-definition downscaling to 1080p by using a technique called super sampling. So this makes the games that are running natively in 4K look even better than a 1080p game would on a 1080p display. So it takes the 4K and makes it look better at 1080p, which is really, really cool. I was worried that, with a system like this, I mean, I knew that it would still play on a 1080p TV. I don't imagine any system that uses an HDMI that would not play on a 1080p TV, but I was worried that I was going to be I would just be spending more money to lose some of that graphical fidelity. But it seems like, I mean, it's not going to be, of course, it's not going to be as good looking as 4K, but at least it looks better than a traditional 1080p game does on a 1080p display. So that's good. And this is interesting. For the first time ever in a console, the CPU will be cooled by a liquid-cooled vapor chamber. So liquid cooling has entered a console for the very first time. Of course, people have been liquid cooling PCs, especially like high-end PCs and servers, for years now, quite a few years. But now liquid cooling is finally making its way into a console, which is bonkers. They also announced that they have created this new power efficiency technology, which they've named the Hovis method, after the man on the Xbox team that invented it to help, everything run efficiently and not be, hogging too much power, and make sure everything runs nice and smooth, and there's no excessive power usage out of the system while still managing to keep everything running at a good voltage and stuff. So that's cool. And this is something that blew my mind and a lot of other people's minds, is that Xbox One X will be even smaller than the Xbox One S, making it the smallest Xbox ever made. I don't know how they did it. Like, a lot of this technology seems like it's pretty much impossible. It seems like it's impossible technology, but they somehow did it. I'm curious to see how, if this will have any problems after launch, if consumers are going to have problems with this, because this seems like really, really advanced technology to be, just putting out there into the hands of, average consumers who don't know to be careful. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is really impressive, though, for Microsoft to make this console. And it's supposedly even more powerful than the PS4 Pro, so we'll see what that translates to. So next, moving on to the games. Now that we got the hardware out of the way, let's talk games. So the first game that was unveiled was Forza Motorsport 7. They had an announcement trailer for that. And I think I did call in my predictions video that they were going to start out with Forza 7 because Forza has kind of always been Microsoft's way to pitch new hardware and to show the capability of new hardware, because they really like to push that. They really like to show how good Forza looks on their new hardware. They did it for the Xbox 360, they did it for the Xbox One, they did it for the Xbox One S, and now they're doing it for the Xbox One X. So they're always showing, you know, how good Forza looks on their new system, and so that's what they started out with. And of course, it looks gorgeous as always. I mean, I doubt I'm ever going to see in my lifetime a Forza game that looks ugly. So, Forza 7 had its announcement trailer to kick it off, and then this was really interesting. So right after the announcement trailer, one of the guys from the Forza team came out and mentioned that Forza Motorsport is such a big deal, not only in the gaming industry, but just in the auto industry. Like, people in the automotive industry know what Forza is. It's such a big brand for the automotive industry, that Porsche has decided to collaborate with Forza Motorsport, and so that was what was announced, was a collaboration, a 6-year partnership between Forza Motorsport and Porsche, that they will basically help promote each other both in-game and in real life. So, you know, Forza will help Porsche, you know, showcase their cars in the game, and Porsche will help promote Forza Motorsport at some of their events, you know, so that was really cool. But this was the kicker, is that because of this partnership, for the first time in history, a brand new supercar made its worldwide reveal, not at the traditional auto trade show like they normally go to, like in Detroit or Frankfurt or something, where they normally unveil these new cars to the public. No, for the first time ever, a brand new supercar was revealed for the very first time to the public on the E3 stage, which is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. And that car was the 2018 Porsche 911 GT2 RS. And it's a gorgeous looking car, I gotta admit. And of course, it will be present in Forza Motorsport 7. And it's actually the car that's on the cover of Forza Motorsport 7. It's the cover art car for the game. So that's really cool. And I hope to see more unveilings of these brand new cars that nobody's ever seen before at E3, because due to this partnership between Forza and Porsche. I'd really like to see more of that at future events. So next we moved into a gameplay demo for Forza Motorsport 7, and it showed 2 drivers who are, I guess, a part of the Forza esports scene. They helped show off the game. One was driving in the 2018 Porsche 911 GT2 RS, and the other was in a Nissan GTR. And which is really impressive to me was that the game runs at native 4K at 60 frames per second. Do you know, like, how hardware intensive native 4K at 60 frames per second is? And to think that they fit all of that in that tiny little box. This is what I said. This is what I said earlier about how Forza is always used to showcase how powerful a Microsoft system is. And they did it again here. It was so impressive to see that game running at native 4K, solid 60 frames per second. That's impressive as fuck. They also showed off the new dynamic weather and improved, like, dynamic lighting, which of course was really amazing. They said that the game features over 700 cars, which is something. That's probably more cars than every racing game I've ever owned combined. And I love racing games, so that's saying something. To have, like, 700 cars in the game, that's crazy. And like I said, this is a very amazing way to advertise the Xbox One X, because especially if you don't have a PC powerful enough to run this like I do, like or like, you know, because I don't really have a PC that's powerful enough to run this at like 4K or whatever. This feels like it's a game that must be experienced in 4K, and it just won't be the same any other way. It's not gonna be as amazing if you play it in 1080p. Like, this is a game that's worthy of 4K, and you know, really makes the 4K shine. So if you don't have a PC powerful enough to already play this at 4K, 60 frames per second, then this makes you really want an Xbox One X. So then we moved into a game I never ever thought would come to E3 ever again. It's a sequel to a game that came out in 2010. So you can understand my skepticism about this game ever showing its face again, you know, ever. But it happened at E3, and that is the gameplay demo for Metro Exodus. Now, I've played Metro Last Light Redo on PS4. I haven't played a lot of it, but what I did play, I did really like. And to see that 4A Games is actually, you know, bringing back the franchise and bringing it to Xbox One, and of course PS4 and all that, that's really amazing. Because I just kind of figured that Metro just didn't sell enough to make it worthwhile to continue the series. It was a series like Fear, where a lot of people really liked it, but it didn't really sell well. So, you know, I figured that, well, that means that, you know, we're just not gonna get another Metro game. But nope, Metro Exodus. They said it'd be coming out sometime next year, which, I mean, hey, new Metro game, hell yeah. So then we moved into the world premiere trailer for Assassin's Creed Origins. Now, it showed off a little bit of the world. Of course, this game takes place in ancient Egypt, and as I've said before, I am a sucker for tropical or exotic locations in games, and this is no exception. Ancient Egypt looks goddamn drop-dead gorgeous for this new Assassin's Creed game. And we also saw in the trailer, we saw some new weapons, including a bow that fires multiple arrows at once, which is kind of crazy. And finally we saw an assassin fighting some giant snake creature. So, and they mentioned this later, you know, other talks about Assassin's Creed, is that this game will not only focus on, you know, some of the historical aspects of ancient Egypt and actually focus on the actual history, but for the first time, the series is also going to start implementing some of the mythology and fantasy of ancient Egypt as well, which is really exciting. And I'm glad that, you know, they're delving in, especially ancient Egyptian history, which is you know, really rich with creatures and gods and stuff that we can explore, and you know, go into that. I think that's gonna be really awesome. So then we moved into the Assassin's Creed Origins gameplay demo, and as the name suggests, Assassin's Creed Origins will be a prequel to the entire Assassin's Creed franchise, basically to celebrate the series' 10th anniversary, because I guess the original Assassin's Creed came out in about 2007, so yeah, this will be the 10th anniversary of Assassin's Creed, and this new game is going to be a prequel to that entire franchise. And they revealed that the new assassin's name is Bayek, and he is the last Magi. And the presenter kind of described him as like an Egyptian sheriff. And I think that's a pretty good description of him. And he basically looks over and protects his community. Of course, since this is a prequel story, Bayek's actions that he makes in game, throughout the course of the game, what he does will end up creating the Assassin's Brotherhood that, you know, we have played through every other Assassin's Creed game. So I mean, he's not part of the Assassin's Brotherhood starting out in the game. You actually are just some guy. You're the last Magi in ancient Egypt. And all you're trying to do is just protect your community from, you know, corrupt people and bad people and stuff. So the Brotherhood doesn't even exist yet. But Bayek will be the first to basically create the Brotherhood, and you know, from there on, the lineage of assassins that follow after him. So There also is going to be new RPG-style progression systems, which is kind of interesting. I really do like RPG progression systems. And this was later showed off in the demo when Bayek not only picks up an enemy's weapon to use for himself later, which I don't believe you've ever been able to do in an Assassin's Creed game, is pick up an enemy's weapon and keep it for yourself. But he also levels up later after taking out an enemy. So you can like level your character up and you know, get all this cool gear and stuff out in the world. And the demo itself shows Bayek on a mission to assassinate the fake oracle Mendunamun, I believe is his name. I may be pronouncing that wrong, but and this is something new. Eagle vision is now literally the vision of an eagle, which is really unique, because previously eagle vision has just kind of been this weird superpower that assassins have to be able to like to look through walls and crowds and stuff and pick out key targets and stuff. But this time you're actually taking control of an eagle that Bayek owns, and you can fly it above the sky and tag enemies and stuff and see where all the enemies are and stuff. So it's very similar to what Eagle Vision has done in previous games. You're going to get to be able to do that in this game with pretty much a literal eagle, which is really unique and awesome. And it gives us kind of like a lore-friendly way to incorporate the same kind of like scouting drone kind of thing that's been happening in a lot of like recent military shooters and stuff. So that's really cool. And the new combat system, by God, it looks so fun and so fluid. Especially like how Bayek like dodges and he darts kind of like a ninja like between stuff. It's so awesome. And of course the demo ends with Bayek firing some kind of arrow that he can somehow control mid-flight, which is kind of crazy. And for me, after taking like a personal 3-year break from the Assassin's Creed franchise, because I didn't even play Assassin's Creed Syndicate like at all. I didn't pick it up. I didn't ever play it. The last Assassin's Creed game I played was Unity, and I didn't even finish it. Haven't even finished Assassin's Creed Unity. Totally missed Syndicate, and just haven't been playing any Assassin's Creed since then. But after taking a 3-year break from it, this gameplay finally looked, you know, refreshing and exciting to me again, and it made me really want to pick it up and play it. So I'm super hyped for the new Assassin's Creed game. And I'm probably not going to pre-order it. The pre-order bonuses kind of suck, but I am really looking forward to it, and I will pick it up when I can. It's not going to be one that I really want to skip out on. I'm going to definitely want to get this one. So from there, we went into a console trailer for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which of course is a battle royale game that's been out on PC for a while, but it's making its console debut on Xbox. And it's going to be a timed exclusive. They did say that the PS4 after the conference, PlayerUnknown did tell reporters that a PS4 version is coming. It's just going to probably be later, and it is a timed exclusive for Xbox One. The trailer I thought though was kind of lame. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is known for having really crazy, you know, off the wall kind of gameplay. With tons of creative kills and, you know, lots of gore and you know, really just a crazy brawl that happens in the game. And the trailer didn't really show any of that. I mean, at the very end there was like one scene of somebody getting killed with a frying pan to the head, but that was about it. And otherwise it was just, you know, straight up, you know, gunplay and driving around and stuff. So I don't think it's really indicative of the crazy stuff you can really do in the game. So it was kind of just a bit too tame, in my opinion. And I've said how, I think I said in my live reactions, how, you know, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is a game that I'm excited for, because I kind of want to get it on PC. And you know, if I do get the game, probably I'm gonna get it on PC. I'm not gonna get it on Xbox, but yeah, I mean, initially was kind of turned off to the whole game, but I'm thinking that now that I've seen a little bit more about it, maybe I could get into it. I don't know, but anyways, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is coming to Xbox One as a timed exclusive, so that was cool. And they brought PlayerUnknown himself out on stage to announce that, so that was really cool. Moving on to Deep Rock Galactic. which is currently in early access on PC right now, and it will be hitting Xbox One next year. So I don't know too much about the game, but it looks like it's some kind of like 4-player co-op game where you mine for minerals and fend off waves of like cave creatures and sort of attack you and stuff. And it was announced in the presser that it will feature interactive elements with Microsoft's new streaming service Mixer. So we'll see what that means. Maybe like, people watching from Mixer can like help give you items or whatever. So what that interactivity is, I don't know, but it says that it will have interactive elements with Mixer. So we'll see what that's about. Moving on to the State of Decay 2 4K trailer. Now, it was a well-made trailer. I do think that the trailer was well-made because it showed off what seemed to be some kind of like permadeath system in the game, as well as some of the crafting mechanics and the zombies. Of course, I haven't played State of Decay 1, so I don't know if these things have been staples of the franchise forever, but those were kind of interesting things. But it's still, even with this trailer, it still felt just like another co-op zombie game, similar to Left 4 Dead, and to me that just really wasn't interesting. I was kind of lukewarm on Left 4 Dead because I played Left 4 Dead 2 on my PC, and I was kind of just lukewarm to it at best. So yeah, I'm kind of like sick of zombie games at this point. So State of Decay 2 didn't really scream to me I needed to go out and buy it. But nevertheless, they did show it off, and it's of course coming for Xbox One and PC. So, but however, the next thing they did announce actually did kind of get me excited. That was the gameplay trailer for the Darwin Project, which seems to be a new IP, and it was shoutcasted by a professional shoutcaster named Jethro Tull, and I think that really helped sell the atmosphere of the game, and it really made the game come alive, and showed what the game was capable of doing, in terms of like esports and stuff. So that was really cool, because it appears to be about a type of like battle royale game similar to DayZ or PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, that kind of thing, but kind of with a cartoony aesthetic that kind of reminded me a lot of Overwatch, to be honest. And Overwatch, I thought was such a great game, partly due to its really charming, well-designed characters, and because this game's characters kind of remind me a lot of Overwatch's characters, because of how well-designed they are and how charming they are and stuff. I instantly gravitated towards this game when it was showed off. And it also appears to have some kind of audience interactivity with Mixer, similar to Deep Rock Galactic, which does, of course, make it unique among some of the other things like Overwatch, Battleborn, and Paladin and stuff. So I will be following the progression of this game, the Darwin Project, really closely. This looks like a battle royale game that I could probably really get into, where PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is kind of what I'm still on the fence about. I am stoked for the Darwin Project. It looks really good. I can't wait to get my hands on it. And it looks like it's going to be a good entry for me into the battle royale gaming genre. So we'll see what happens with that. There was no release date given, but it is coming, and it looks awesome. So let's talk some Minecraft. Minecraft, we got a 2017 updates trailer. And it was also announced in this trailer that the community marketplace, which we had a trailer for Android and iOS devices, came out a couple days before E3. But it was also announced at E3 that it also will be coming to Xbox One. Bigger servers are going to be on the way for bigger worlds and more players in them. And this was a big thing that everybody's talking about, is that crossplay was announced. And crossplay is going to unite the Minecraft community like never before. I'm talking, you can play with people from pretty much any platform. You can play between Xbox One, Windows 10, Android, iOS, and Nintendo Switch, all in the same ecosystem. And you may be noticing that I didn't mention a PS4 there. Well, that's because PS4 crossplay has been excluded from this. Now, why? It's not because Microsoft just hates Sony. Microsoft actually wants Sony to come on board with this and work with them at making Minecraft crossplay a thing, and crossplay with some of their other games. But Sony said no, especially regarding to Minecraft, because Sony has gone on record saying that they're afraid of being at fault if a gamer that's not using PSN starts to bully some little kids who are playing Minecraft, and then Sony's going to be powerless to do anything about that player, and you know, parents might complain that their kid is getting bullied or whatever on Minecraft and demand Sony fix it. But if the player's not coming from Sony's own, you know, community, not coming from the PSN, there's nothing Sony can do about it, and it's out of Sony's control about what that player does, being since they're on a totally another system. So Sony is afraid of harassment happening cross-platform that they don't have any control over to stop. I mean, I kind of understand that to a point, but it kind of falls flat when you realize that, you know, even if Nintendo, which is even more family-friendly than Sony, is getting on board with this idea, then it kind of makes you look, you know, just kind of dumb. Like when your competitor that's even more concerned about being family-friendly and more concerned about, you know, the end user experience online, when even they're hopping on board with this idea, and you're still kind of like, kind of makes you look like the bad guy, honestly. So I'm not happy that you know, I don't even play Minecraft, and I'm not happy that crossplay is being denied, because Sony's just afraid that little kids are going to get bullied and people are going to complain and they can't do anything about it. That's pretty much what they've said. So unfortunately that does suck. But what doesn't suck is that there is a free 4K update coming to Minecraft this fall, so you'll be able to play the game in 4K. Now, and a lot of people have joked, oh, Minecraft in 4K, I bet you, how different does that look? But I imagine it does look quite a bit different. You probably have to be able to see, like, you know, you'll be able to see more, and it'll have higher resolution. It's still, of course, going to be in the same 8-bit style, but it will look higher fidelity still with that 8-bit style, because the game isn't actually running in 8-bit. It's actually, you know, a fully 3D world, but it's just the textures that look, you know, 8-bit and stuff. Then we moved into the Minecraft Super Duper Graphics Pack trailer, which showed that this Super Duper Graphics Pack is going to include improved lighting and shadows, which looked really, really beautiful and made the game look almost like a totally different game. It really brought the world of Minecraft to life and made it look like a next-gen kind of game, instead of just, you know, something that was, you know, like 7 years old at this point. And it also will be running in native 4K, so that's interesting. Then we moved into something that got my friend Mock Birdman pretty excited. That was Dragon Ball FighterZ, the world premiere trailer, and this is a Dragon Ball fighting game that is being made by the team that brought us Guilty Gear, which, if you guys know, Guilty Gear is one of the best 2D arcade fighter series ever made, alongside BlazBlue. I mean, I'm personally a fan of BlazBlue, and I'm pretty sure that the team that made Guilty Gear is a different team than the one that made BlazBlue, but they're both part of Arc System Works, which is, you know, the company that's publishing this game as well. And it looks to have that same fun kind of gameplay that made the Budokai series, the Dragon Ball Budokai series, so great back in, you know, the PS2 era. Of course, obviously it's different gameplay because Budokai was a 3D fighter and this is a 2D one, but it has that same kind of draw where you don't even have to really be a fan of Dragon Ball to actually appreciate this game, and I'm not a fan of Dragon Ball. But even I am, you know, really excited for this game and really want to play it because it just looks that good. The gameplay looks good enough where you don't even have to be a fan. You don't have to know the characters. It's just that good looking of a fighting game, and I can't wait to get my hands on it and play it. And I'm sure Mock Birdman would feel the same way. So moving on, we have a couple of actually 3 titles in a row that did not actually have a release date, but I'm going to go into them anyway. The first one is Black Desert, which is available now on PC, but it has a to-be-announced release date for Xbox One, so it is coming to the Xbox One for the first time. And Black Desert is a MMORPG. I've seen it kind of advertised around on YouTube for the PC. And it looks really, really good. This is like the only other MMO besides WoW that I've really been interested in. A lot of the other ones just seem kind of like boring and uninspired, but this one looks really, really good. And it seems to be like kind of right at the cross section between the fun cartoony style of World of Warcraft and the serious, like, gritty nature of something like the Elder Scrolls Online. It seems to be kind of right in the middle there in terms of the tone of the game, and that's really, really interesting. And it's making its console launch on Xbox One sometime in the near future. But if I am going to play it, I'd probably just pick it up on PC. Good thing about Black Desert, though, is that it does not have a subscription fee, unlike other MMOs. You pay one flat rate, and you got the game. You can choose to pay more to get more stuff when you buy the game, but you can get the game for as cheap as like $10. So if Black Desert is something that interests you and you have a PC, go check it out. It's fairly cheap, and you can pay more to get more if you want. And I definitely want to check out Black Desert. It looks like a really, really fun MMORPG. So, moving on, we had a trailer for this game called The Last Night. Now, it's created by Tim Soret, whoever the hell that guy is. I actually tried looking up, information about him, figuring that he's some important name that people know offhand. Otherwise, why would they be name dropping him? But I couldn't find any information about any other notable works that he's done. I didn't see, when I looked up his name, all I could see was stuff for The Last Night. I couldn't find anything about any other games that he's done that people have actually, loved and remembered. So it is what it is. But it looks to be some kind of cyberpunk game with some kind of political statement about consumerism and lack of creativity and artistry, which I think is kind of ironic that it shows up at E3, which is kind of the exact pinnacle of those two things, but whatever, it's his game. I do have to admit, though, that the game does have a really gorgeous art style, and I have to give it props for its really beautiful art style. However, there has been a recent controversy about this game's creator in regards to this game, too, that I'll probably do a standalone video about fairly soon. I'll probably put an iCard somewhere on screen, somewhere in my pants, whatever, when I do that, because I don't want to bog this wrap-up down with politics. I could go over, the thing here, but I really don't want to, bog this too heavily down with politics. But if we take the politics out of the equation between, Tim Sora and all this, stuff surrounding him and stuff, if we take the politics out of the equation and just judge the game by its own merits, it does look interesting, and if it's cheap sometime, I'll probably pick it up. Next, the final to-be-announced thing here was a trailer for The Artful Escape, which is coming to Xbox One and PC, and it seems to be some kind of platformer that incorporates music in some way, because you saw this guy, he had a guitar, and every time he strummed the guitar, it formed a platform that he could actually, jump on and stuff, so seems to use music in some kind of way, which is a pretty unique concept. And just like The Last Night, it also had a really, really charming art style that I liked. And I thought it was funny how at the end of the trailer, the release date beneath the game title wasn't, coming sooner or something. It just says, coming when it's damn ready, which I thought was pretty funny. How the developer put up like a snarky kind of way of saying, Jesus Christ, just hold it, we're working on it. So, from there we moved into Code Vein. We got a gameplay trailer for Code Vein, which is not something I expected to see at E3. I kind of figured Code Vein would be at least a year or two off before we'd hear anything about it. Beyond, that initial first reveal that we got over social media. But, of course, this game is being designed and published by the publisher of Dark Souls, so it takes a lot of inspiration, takes very heavy inspiration from those Dark Souls games. And from the gameplay that they showed in the trailer, it looks just as punishing, just as painfully punishing as Dark Souls. Although I do have to admit, though, that the art style, the anime, cel-shaded kind of style there, it looks really pretty, and that might just be enough to get me to pick it up when it comes out. I've been kind of avoiding Dark Souls and Bloodborne because they just look so dreary and depressing and not visually interesting. I know that the gameplay is kind of the big thing that people talk about with Dark Souls, and I was willing to give that gameplay style a chance, but I just couldn't get past the weird, dreary, kind of depressing vibe of the game. But this game has lots of colors, and the really cool anime style. So it might be just enough to get me to pick it up, but we'll see when it comes out sometime next year. Then we moved into a Sea of Thieves gameplay demo. I'm surprised that we didn't find out a real release date for the game. Even during one of the developer interviews later, they kind of just said, yeah, we can't really tell you when you'll really be able to play the game. So I was surprised that we didn't actually get a release date, but the gameplay demo was great. The narrator, I thought, was hilarious. Some people might have thought it was cringy, but I actually didn't. I really liked the narrator of the trailer. He was really funny and made a lot of nice jokes that made me laugh. And the demo showed a pirate crew of 4 players raiding a sunken ship to find treasure, and they were bringing it back on board their ship. And it also showed how players will have to solve like riddles and stuff to find some of the hidden treasure that's on land, which I thought was a unique concept. And I think that's going to really encourage team play a lot, because unlike other games that have teamwork in them, a lot of them, kind of just seem like they're a solo experience. But I think that or people treat them as like a solo experience, even though they're supposed to be done with a team. I think that having riddles like this in the game will encourage players to work together more. And you can not only use the cannons on your ship to attack other ships, but you can also actually launch yourself out of the cannon, which looks really fun to do. And we also got to see some gunplay and some melee combat, which looked really cartoony, but also looked really fun and satisfying. And it didn't look like, the combat was weak due to its art style. They could have easily made that combat look really weak and stupid, but it still looked really fun and satisfying, even with its cartoony art style. So that was really impressive. And sometimes when you're carrying treasure, you can be attacked just by random like skeletons or other players or whatever, and then your crewmates will have to fight to defend you while you actually take the treasure back to the ship, which is cool. Now I'm still excited for Sea of Thieves, especially this gameplay demo really kind of sold me on the concept and really made me excited. And I initially was. This is one of my most anticipated things from the conference, and one of my most liked things from the conference, until I saw the Ubisoft conference and witnessed their upcoming pirate game, which is coming around probably the same time. But I'll have more thoughts about the Ubisoft pirate game in my Ubisoft wrap-up when I do that. So I probably won't pick up Sea of Thieves at launch, but I probably will get it eventually at some point, since it seems like my PC would probably still be able to run that game. Next, we moved into a trailer for this game called Tacoma, and we don't know a whole lot about it other than it's going to be an adventure-style game, and it's going to be set in space, and it's made by the creators of Gone Home, which is a game I really liked, and it's a game I've actually been personally inspired by to kind of make my own game with some of my friends. I'm using kind of the same kind of like style as Gone Home to make my own game. So it will be interesting to see what Tacoma is all about. It's come out just in a couple months, so get excited for that. If you liked Gone Home like I did, get excited for that game. Next, we moved into a console reveal trailer for Super Lucky's Tale. So Super Lucky's Tale is a sequel to a VR game that came out in 2016 called Lucky's Tale. And when I first saw this, I instantly fell in love with it. The characters, especially Lucky the Fox himself, looks so charming and cute that I just can't help but love this game. And it looks to be some kind of like 3D platformer in the style of like Super Mario 3D World or Spyro the Dragon. I might not get it at launch, not because I'm not interested. I'm totally interested in this game, but the only problem is that it's coming out around the same time as a lot of other games that I want are coming out, so I'll probably just wait to get it, but I definitely will pick this game up at some point. This looks like a platformer that I'm going to like almost as much as Mario, which is really great, now that I've become sort of like a Mario fan. And the big one for me, this was the highlight of the entire Xbox show, the Cuphead release date announcement trailer. September 29th, 2017. I am so psyched. I've been waiting so long for this game. It's probably my most anticipated Microsoft game of all time. And we finally got a release date for it. And I also checked the Microsoft Store after E3, and it's actually only going to be $20. So, yeah, if you got a PC or you got an Xbox, go pick up this game. Pre-order it. It's going to be amazing. I may just pre-order it sometime in the next few days because I'm just that stoked for it. So yeah, I'm super hyped to pick up Cuphead. Can't wait. It's coming out this September. It's going to be awesome. So from there, we got a 4K trailer for Crackdown 3, and it starred Terry motherfucking Crews. Oh my god. So fans who predicted Doomfist at E3, they weren't wrong. It just wasn't for Overwatch and was for a totally different game, but hey. So we got Terry Crews starring in the Crackdown 3 trailer. I thought that was like a really cool way to do that. The trailer, it didn't showcase as much of the signature Crackdown destruction that other fans might have wanted, but it was still pretty exciting nonetheless. They had a good song that they picked with it too. And Crackdown 3 will be a launch title alongside Super Lucky's Tale for the Xbox One X. So then we went into the ID at Xbox lineup for 2017, and I'm just going to go rapid fire off for this one because, I mean, they didn't give any release dates, and they didn't mention who the developers were or anything, so I'm just going to start listing these off. So we had Osiris New Dawn, we had Raiders of the Broken Planet, Unruly Heroes, Path of Exile, Battle Right, Surviving Mars, Fable Fortune, Observer, Robocraft Infinity, Dunk Lords, Minion Masters Forced to Duel, Brawl Out, Ooblets, Dark and Light, Strange Brigade, Riverbond, Hello Neighbor, Shift, and Conan Exiles. So from there we got a reveal trailer for this new game called Ashen. Now this didn't have a release date, but it looked really creepy, and yeah, it didn't really appear to be a horror game. It looked more like an adventure game than a horror game, which was interesting. But it had really creepy creatures and stuff, and creepy ghost entities and stuff. So it was actually more interesting. I don't think I paid it enough attention when I watched it live. I don't think I really processed what was happening, and really took it all in. But after sitting down and watching it later, and actually really intently watching it, it did seem more interesting. So I'll have to keep an eye on this one and see when it comes out. Maybe I'll pick it up when it actually does, because it seems like right up my alley, where it has creepy creatures, but it's not really a horror game. So that would be really interesting. And next, we got a trailer for Life is Strange Before the Storm. I initially was interested in the original Life is Strange when it first came out, until I basically realized that it's just basically Misandry Simulator. That's what the game is. It's just about a couple of teenage girls with their teenage girl problems, and everything wrong in the world can be explained and be blamed on some horny guy just trying to get his way with everything, and down with the patriarch and stuff. So that just immediately turned me off when I found out what the plot of the game was and how the game kind of played out. So Before the Storm is a prequel story that tells the tale of Chloe before she had her supernatural powers, and even if you don't really agree with me that Life is Strange was basically the Misandry Simulator, and you were a fan of Life is Strange, well, guess what? You have a reason to be pissed off too, because Square Enix is basically saying screw you, because they are replacing the original voice actress of Chloe with a brand new voice actress. Why? I don't know. Maybe they're pulling a Konami or something. But for me, this is a clear skip it. Just don't even acknowledge it exists. Just move on. Next, we had a really long Middle-earth Shadow of War gameplay demo. I think this was probably their longest presentation in the entire show, was for Middle-earth Shadow of War. And the demo primarily showed off how they've improved the Nemesis system, because I know that was the big thing that everybody loved from the first one. And this included the new option to actually turn Nemesis enemies over to your side and have them fight with you instead of killing them in combat. So you can still kill them in combat, obviously, but if you don't want to, you can actually turn them over to fight with you, and they'll fight alongside you in assaults on one of the other new features, the Nemesis Fortresses. Now, the Nemesis Fortresses are supposedly fortified bases that are around the world. And they're guarded by both ground troops and ruled by an overlord that you can take down. Now, I wasn't ever really interested in this series, despite how much praise it got for its first one. So I really wasn't excited for this either, and the excessively long gameplay demo just kind of further, decentivized me from, picking up this game. It dragged on a bit too long. However, they made up for it with the very next trailer, and that was the 4K trailer for Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is the sequel, obviously, to Ori and the Blind Forest, which I believe that came out, Ori and the Blind Forest, I believe that was a launch title for the Xbox One. And once again, this was one of the most gorgeous trailers at E3, just as Ori and the Blind Forest was for its official E3 unveiling. And the game's composer, Gareth Coker, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, he actually scored the trailer live. He actually played the music for the trailer live on stage, and it was absolutely beautiful music. I love the music for this trailer. I have to pick up the soundtrack for this game when it comes out. The music is just that good. I still haven't played the original Ori, but I still really want to, and I'll probably pick both of them up eventually. We don't know when Ori and the Will of the Wisps is coming out, but it'll be coming out sometime, so that's something to look forward to. And next was a pretty big announcement for a lot of people. It was announced that Xbox is expanding its backwards compatibility program to include the original Xbox. And it's launching with the fan favorite game that people have been begging them to make available for backwards compatibility, and that's Crimson Skies. So one of the most favorite, airplane games on the Xbox is coming to Xbox One, which is really cool for fans of that franchise. And to me, this is one of the most exciting reveals, second to the Scorpio itself, at Xbox's show, because this really blew me away and got me hyped, because if I did decide to buy an Xbox One, with this expansion of the backwards compatibility program, I could enjoy all the Xbox games that I always wanted to play as a kid, but never got to, because I didn't have an Xbox, as well as all the other Xbox 360 games that I maybe missed out on, that are already on the service. So it would essentially allow me to catch up with the entire Xbox history of games, and it would be like I was an Xbox gamer from the very beginning, and that's really, really exciting for me. Will I get an Xbox One for this? I don't know. I'm not saying that, I'm not saying really either way if I'm gonna not get an Xbox One or that I am. I honestly don't know. But if I do, I'm glad I'll be able to have the option to go back and play those old games now if I really want to. So next we got some announcements of some Xbox One X enhancement patches. And that included Gears of War 4, Forza Horizon 3, Killer Instinct, and Halo Wars 2, along, of course, with Minecraft, which was announced earlier. And they will all be getting 4K updates for the launch of Xbox One X. And those are just the first-party games. The third-party titles included Final Fantasy 15, Resident Evil 7, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, and Rocket League. All of those games are also getting 4K updates in the future for Xbox One X, so that should be interesting. As we neared the end of the conference, the final closing statements from Xbox before we finally revealed the last game was a price drop, at least for the week of E3. I don't know if it's going to continue past E3, but they dropped the price of the Xbox One S to $249, and they officially unveiled the price of the Xbox One X to be $499. So I was wrong. People were talking that Xbox One X was going to be like a multi-$1,000 console, And I'm glad I was wrong. I'm glad everybody else was wrong about that, because that's a really reasonable price for that system, especially when you consider all the technology that they crammed inside of that thing. It's really, really impressive that it's only $4.99. But then again, I mean, Microsoft did say that they are actually taking a loss with the One X. They're not actually profiting off of the One X at all. They're actually losing money with the One X, but they're hoping that the games will sell them. So the final game, of course, that we got, it was teased earlier at the EA conference the other day before this, and that was Anthem. And we got a gameplay demo for that. So in Anthem, you play as this kind of like mercenary known as a freelancer. And you can be hired for missions by NPCs that will have you leaving the safety of the city walls to go out into the creature-infested world on the outside. Unfortunately, though, it did have some of that fake voice chat kind of thing that Ubisoft has used from time to time, which kind of did distract from the gameplay. You know, like how they have people who pretend to be communicating over voice chat when it's the most forced and unrealistic gamer dialogue between players. That it's what like a out of touch parent thinks that happens in game communication. You know, like it was really bad they used that. It kind of did distract from the gameplay a little bit, but the game, luckily itself, if you were paying attention to the gameplay, was, you know, still held up. So players would get to customize their exosuits, which are called javelins, however they like. There'll be a lot of like upgrades and stuff for them, and cosmetic options, so it'll make your javelin look really, really cool. And fucking jetpacks, man, awesome. Seriously, the jetpacks in those javelin suits on the jetpacks that those javelin suits have on them, they're like 90% of the reason why I love this game. Oh, and did I mention you can use them underwater? And there's like a whole other underwater part to this massive open world, which I gotta say, like, another 5% of why I love the game is the beautiful open world there. It looks like it's gonna be so much fun to get lost in, with or without friends. Like, even if I'm just doing this on my own, it might even actually be more fun doing it on my own than with friends. Just like exploring this big, you know, crazy open world that is full of life and nature. It looks really, really, really good. And I have to say, like, another 5% of why I love the game, it has to go to the really unique and awesome creature designs. They kind of remind me a lot of, like, Evolve's monsters, but they obviously, like, are locked behind hundreds of dollars of DLC. So yeah, between, like, the jetpacks and the open world and the monsters, it's really, really amazing of a game, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. Also, the particle and weather effects, outstanding. Really, really, really impressive. Kind of reminds me of how impressed I was with the Gears of War 4 weather effects when that was announced last year at E3. And it's on that kind of par of, you know, really stunning visuals in terms of, like, particle and weather effects. That looked even amazing in 1080p. Say, I can't even imagine how good it must look in 4K. That must be mind-blowing. So obviously, though, people are kind of mad at BioWare for basically ditching the Mass Effect franchise and replacing it with, like, a rip-off Destiny kind of a thing. But I think that this is much better, because it's basically Destiny meets Evolve, but with a BioWare story, like that signature epic BioWare story. And I think that that's gonna make for one of the greatest games of all time, honestly. Like, I am so stoked for Anthem now. I can't wait for when it comes out. It's coming out next year, hopefully, if it doesn't get delayed. So yeah, look forward to that. I'm probably gonna pick this one up. So when ranking the Xbox conference in with the other conferences, because that was the very last thing that they announced, when ranking the Xbox conference, with number 1 being my favorite conference and number 6 being my least favorite, I have to put Xbox right in the middle at a number 3. And I'm also going to give them a letter grade of a B. So basically above average. Because there were a lot of games that got me really excited, especially like Cuphead and Anthem. Those are like the 2 big ones. But a lot of the games that I liked were either not coming out this year, or just simply too graphically intense for my PC to handle. Because even if I could get some of them to work on my PC, it kind of defeats the purpose, because they wouldn't look nearly as good as they would on Xbox One X. So I have to get a One X just to play those games, and if I'm dropping $500 on an Xbox One X, on like the new 4K console, then I'm probably going to have to get a 4K TV to play it on too, to bring out its full potential. Even though it was said that the One X would make 1080p displays look better. Some of these games, like, I would have to play them in 4K. Like, there would just be no compromise. The sad part is, of course, I don't have a 4K TV, so I'd have to go out and buy one of those. So that's even more money down the drain. And not to mention that my PC needs some components replaced to fix some of the error codes I've been getting. And it's also probably needing of some upgrades as well. So, if I'm ever going to be able to play some of these games, on my new PC, I kind of have to fix those kind of things. So I can't really justify the cost of playing these games to the best of their ability, and what that's going to run me. If I had a higher income than I currently do, I could, maybe more easily afford all this stuff, and then the Xbox show might have been more impressive and more exciting to me, knowing that I could have afforded all this stuff and gotten it. But I was still impressed nonetheless, and I am excited about many of the titles that Xbox announced. It was a really good E3 conference. But anyways, guys, that's all the stuff that happened at the Microsoft E3 2017 media briefing. Remember, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I'm MisterMercy. Peace, everyone.